Divine Reading. Our passage for divine reading from 1 Chronicles chapter 9 verses 22 to 34 give us the responsibilities of the gatekeepers and Levites in the temple. Let us read slowly and attentively. We see the duties of temple servants, especially gatekeepers and Levites, who were responsible for guarding, maintaining, and ministering in the house of God. From English Standard Version. All these who were chosen as gatekeepers at the thresholds were 212. They were enrolled by genealogies in their villages. David and Samuel the seer established them in their office of trust. So they and their sons were in charge of the gates of the house of the Lord, that is, the house of the tent, as guards. The gatekeepers were on the four sides, east, west, north, and south, and their kinsmen who were in their villages were obligated to come in every 7 days in turn to be with these, for the four chief gatekeepers who were Levites were entrusted to be over the chambers and the treasures of the house of God. And they lodged around the house of God, for on them lay the duty of watching, and they had charge of opening it every morning. Some of them had charge of the utensils of service, for they were required to count them when they were brought in and taken out. Others of them were appointed over the furniture and over all the holy utensils, also over the fine flour, the wine, the oil, the incense, and the spices. Others of the sons of the priests prepared the mixing of the spices, and Mattithiah, one of the Levites, the firstborn of Shallum the Korahite, was entrusted with making the flat cakes. Also some of their kinsmen of the Kohathites had charge of the showbread to prepare it every Sabbath. Now these, the singers, the heads of fathers' houses of the Levites, were in the chambers of the temple, free from other service, for they were on duty day and night. These were heads of fathers' houses of the Levites, according to their generations, leaders. These lived in Jerusalem. From New International Version, 1 Chronicles chapter 9, 22 to 34. Altogether, those chosen to be gatekeepers at the thresholds numbered 212. They were registered by genealogy in their villages. The gatekeepers had been assigned to their positions of trust by David and Samuel the seer. They and their descendants were in charge of guarding the gates of the house of the Lord, the house called the tent of meeting. The gatekeepers were on the four sides, east, west, north, and south. Their fellow Levites in their villages had to come from time to time and share their duties for 7-day periods. But the four principal gatekeepers, who were Levites, were entrusted with the responsibility for the rooms and treasuries in the house of God. They would spend the night stationed around the house of God because they had to guard it, and they had charge of the keys for opening it each morning. Some of them were in charge of the articles used in the temple service. They counted them when they were brought in and when they were taken out. Others were assigned to take care of the furnishings and all the other articles of the sanctuary, as well as the special flour and wine and the olive oil, the incense and spice. Some of the priests took care of mixing the spices. A Levite named Mattithiah, the firstborn son of Shallum the Korahite, was entrusted with the responsibility for baking the offering bread. Some of the Kohathites, their fellow Levites, were in charge of preparing for every Sabbath the bread set out on the table. Those who were musicians, heads of Levite families, stayed in the rooms of the temple and were exempt from other duties because they were responsible for the work day and night. All these were heads of Levite families, chiefs as listed in their genealogy, and they lived in Jerusalem. From the Message version. Shallum, son of Korah, the son of Ebiasaph, the son of Korah, along with his brothers in the Korahite family, were in charge of the services of worship as doorkeepers of the tent, as their ancestors had guarded the entrance to the camp of God. In the early days, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, was in charge of the security guards. God be with him. Now Zechariah, son of Meshelemiah, was the security guard at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The number of those who had been chosen to be security guards was 212. They were officially registered in their own camps. David and Samuel the seer handpicked them for their dependability. They and their sons had the permanent responsibility for guarding the gates of God's house, the house of worship. The main security guards were posted at the 4 entrances, east, west, north, and south. Their brothers in the villages were scheduled to give them relief weekly. The 4 main security guards were responsible for round-the-clock surveillance. Being Levites, they were responsible for the security of all supplies and valuables in the house of God. They kept watch all through the night and had the key to open the doors each morning. Some were in charge of the articles used in the temple worship. They counted them both when they brought them in and when they took them out. Others were in charge of supplies in the sanctuary: flour, wine, oil, incense, and spice. And some of the priests were assigned to mixing the oils for the perfume. The Levite Mattithiah, the firstborn son of Shallum the Korahite, was responsible for baking the bread for the services of worship. Some of the brothers, sons of the Korahites, were assigned to preparing the bread set out on the table each Sabbath. As we reflect on the meaning, let us understand that these roles were not glamorous but were essential. Their faithfulness in daily, behind the scenes service reveals to us the importance of quiet obedience and dedication in God's house. Let us respond to God in prayer. Gracious Lord, help me be faithful in whatever task you have given me, even if it seems unseen by others. Let my service in your house be marked by devotion and consistency. Amen. As we rest in God's presence, let us sit quietly and consider how our life can mirror the devoted service of these temple workers. Let us find joy and meaning in faithful, humble worship and care for God's presence.